I have a couple thoughts about this video. Before we get into this video, make sure you hit like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also, make sure that your notifications are on and they're set to all. Now, let's get into this. But first, quick commercial break. Now, if you watch Kevin's Corner regularly, you'll know that Noble Gold is one of our sponsors. And they now have thousands of clients who found the secret of gold and silver for their retirement plans right here. And now for the month of March, with any qualified IRA above 20K, you'll get a 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin or a 5-ounce American the Beautiful silver coin for anything over 50K. You know what to do. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or you could visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, let's get to this video. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And somebody's back, someone I haven't talked about in a while. Of course, you know, every blue moon, she'll pop up, and I affectionately have named her Bubble One. That is short for Bubblehead number one, the original. See, and I'm talking about none other than AOC. Yeah, she's back with some type of plight, some cause, some problem that she's found in regards to, I guess, drilling for gas, natural gas, and oil and things like that, and how it affects the indigenous women, black and indigenous women, which, as we listen to, you know, why she's having this hearing in Congress, maybe we can figure out why this has come to her attention and her solution to it, and why she finds it to be a problem. So with no further ado, let's see what's on Bubble One's head besides nothing. This time,
crisis of missing and murder of Indigenous and Black women in the United States.
I didn't know that.
Today, I want to discuss part of this crisis that is all too often overlooked, but whose evidence shows that there's a very meaningful connection here.
Really?
The correlation between fossil fuel extraction sites and abductions and murders of Indigenous women across the United States.
Okay, so right off rip, I'm a little concerned about this whole situation, because this is news to me. I mean, I didn't know this was a problem. Now, do you think AOC knew that this was a problem? Or do you think she has people on her staff that simply goes out and finds problems? Maybe perhaps even, you know, make up some stuff? Because if this was a major problem, you would think that we would hear something about it. So she's trying to tell me that there is a correlation between these drilling sites and missing Black women and missing Indigenous women. And this is usually not brought up and highlighted because of what? They just don't care about these missing women? I don't understand. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of kids that go missing every year, and they don't even make a big ruckus about that. But apparently there's women around these areas that simply seem to go missing. Now, do you think that AOC was out there on the internets researching this? How did she come to this revelation? Who brought this problem to her? Because we know she didn't go find the problem. Someone said, hey, you know what would be a good issue to bring up so you can find one more reason to suggest that we need to stop drilling and we need to just go with your Green Deal, is this as a problem. Something that I didn't know was a problem, and probably she didn't either, and most people in America. But let's see what the problem is before, you know, I don't want to judge too soon. So let's get into it.
We're very lucky to have Ms. Angel Charlie here with us today to start that conversation.
Here we go.
Ms. Charlie, let's start at the top. Can you draw a brief and introductory picture of how fossil fuel extraction efforts expose Indigenous women to physical and often sexual violence? Why is it that oil, gas, and fossil fuel extraction sites have such a high correlation of violence and abduction against Native women?
Okay, now, right off top, I already know where this is going. And I'm going to tell you, I got a problem with politicians that appear to be politicians for only certain people, not politicians for Americans. In fact, I don't believe that I have ever heard AOC find an issue or topic or anything that supports men, or ever even address men, period, as victims or anything. It's almost like she's a politician for just victimized women. Does she even bring up men? Do she care about men? Or does she find ways to highlight how men make women victims? Is she really looking at all Americans and saying, you know what? I want to see all of us as Americans, and whoever is mistreated, whether they be male or female, deserves attention. I bet she probably would overlook a lot of issues that plague men in America because that's not what she thinks about. I mean, men are just whatever. I want to be the politician for victimized women. In other words, I want to be an activist and not a politician. And so, once again, she's highlighting women, indigenous women, black women. Now, granted, I bet you if these were white women, she wouldn't say anything. See, white women deserve what they get. But, when she go out and find causes to bring to Congress and talk about that she probably didn't research or know anything about prior to someone saying, hey, AOC, you told me to find you a problem. Here's one you might want to look into. Oh, this looks good. Well, notice that she never talks about just regular women. It always have to be a woman or a group of women that falls into an identity politics category. Because, see, that spices it up. See, it makes it more impacting if they're women of color, marginalized women. See, she wants to create this perception that it's only marginalized women who no one cares about. Black, indigenous, all of the things that tug at the heartstrings and gives her an opportunity to even slide in perhaps suggestions of racism and stuff like that. Wow. I hope the men never get abducted. I hope they're never taken advantage of because she'll just be like, oh, that's men. I'll forget that. They're okay. But let's see what this lady has to say.
There's a fossil fuel extraction site that is placed on a reservation, and those workers, oil company workers, go to the reservation, have that site. If they commit a crime and commit violence against indigenous women, you're saying that they essentially escape jurisdiction from having a clear path to accountability because of where these sites are happening. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Somehow that's correct. And we're supposed to just believe that. Where's the data? So what she's basically saying, guys, is that because these sites sometimes are like by reservations, and apparently they set up these camps, and I'm sure the majority of men that work for these oil companies or these gas companies, when they're staying there, they're white Anglo-Saxon men, see. And perhaps there's some increase in either sexual activity or violence against women. Now, she's not pulling up any police reports. She's not showing how this perhaps happened or what's the rise and fall. No real details, no cases, no court cases. She's basically saying that these men that work for the oil companies or the gas companies go there, they abuse black and they abuse indigenous women. She's not saying if they're raping them, if these women might be women of the night. We don't even know. But she's just suggesting that these pigs just show up there and all of a sudden, all this victimization takes place on black and indigenous women, which kind of shocks me because usually in places where they dig for oil and gas, there's not a lot of black women. I mean, I happen to be black. I don't know of any drilling areas where a lot of black folks just live. But secondly, she's being very vague in her information. She wants us to just take her word for it. And apparently she's suggesting that based off of this, what? Is this one more reason why we should not have, gas and oil independency from other countries? We should no longer drill because of this problem that I'm just learning about that just fell out of the sky. So you don't have a motive to go and find a problem like this? I mean, if this was a major problem, I would have thought we would have heard about it. But then secondly, or maybe, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth, I don't know what point I'm on at this point, but no accountability? What are you talking about? Are you saying that these guys go in and they snatch women off of the reservation? And then they bring them off the reservation, abuse them, perhaps rape them, and then the reservation police just say, well, we can't do anything about it because they're not on our land. I was in Florida talking to our tour guide, and he was talking about how there are land that the Native Americans are on, but there's overlap when it comes down to the police. If someone is an American and they run onto, a reservation, that police department will, of course, grab them and say, you got to go, and vice versa. There are some rules to be followed. So then why aren't those rules being followed? Why haven't she addressed those rules? Why didn't she say, well, why are these men seeming to be getting away? She didn't even identify the men. How do we know that the men who she's saying is causing this rise in these things that she's referring to are all men that work at the oil or the gas company? She's just throwing it out there, and we're supposed to take her word for it and thus shut down drilling for gas and oil, right? And just continue to buy it from other people who hate us. But this is the mind frame of the progressive left. Let's go find problems. Even if they're not major problems, we're going to make them seem like they're major problems. And we'll keep those problems very vague. And even if these are solvable problems, instead of solving the problem, we don't want to do that. We're using the problem to solve our problem, which is we want to shut down drilling, and we want to shut down, being the number one exporter of gas and oil. That's what we want to do, so we can bring in a new deal. So we're not here to identify this problem and say, how about we increase the police? How about we ask the oil and gas companies to have more security, something like that? No. So the solution, obviously, is to stop drilling. And she's in Congress. Unbelievable. But I expect nothing less for having the easiest job in the world as a Democrat politician. God bless you. God bless America. See you next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share my videos. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.